Hi, my name is Emily Crow from Crochet Creations. Welcome to my Crochet and Knit podcast. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. And if you've been here before, I'm glad that you're back. This is my crochet and knitting podcast where I like to share the things that I'm working on, any new yarn or other supplies that I get. I'm just talking all things yarn. I am the maker behind Crochet Creations. You can follow me on Instagram. My link is in the description. I also have a blog, crochetcreations.com, and you can check that out in the description as well. So yeah, welcome. This is, I think, episode 5 of my podcast. It has been a while. I've been a little AWOL. So December was really a crazy month. I put too much on my to-do list for knitting and crochet specifically. So that was my own dang fault. But then also I just had lots of other ideas for videos I wanted to film and work on. And we traveled out of town to visit family for the holidays. And so it just got busy. So I decided to hold off on podcasting. I was planning on podcasting as soon as we got back from our trip. We were in Utah for about a week and a half. But we got sick, specifically my daughter and I, and not the big Rona, but we have both been sick. She had a viral infection and a rash and an earache, and right now she's got a stomach bug. I really don't know from what, because we have not been out and about in a long time because she's been not feeling well, so I'm not sure what's going on with her. Maybe as a result of the antibiotic, like her tummy's just not feeling good. So she's taking an early nap today, and that's why I'm podcasting now. It is January 10th. Ooh, it is later than I hoped. But it is January 10th, and hopefully we can get through this before Georgia wakes up. We've been having lots of snuggles recently, so it's always nice to have snuggles, but not when she's feeling bad. Hopefully we can get through this podcast. I would love to share with you everything that I've been working on. I've had very focused knitting and crochet the last month and then some. So I've got lots to share, lots of new fun things that have come in that I would love to talk about. First and foremost, I'm wearing my Magnolia Bloom sweater. Eee! Okay, it is super warm and cozy, and I'm like kind of dying right now. I'm in California. It's not cold enough for a sweater like this. It was barely cold enough to wear this in Utah. It's got mohair. I think the combined weight is Aran. I have DK yarn held with 2 strands of mohair. The pattern calls for 2 strands of fingering and 2 strands of mohair, so I decreased that once. I used Cascade 220 superwash yarn in the color Forest Heather, held with 2 strands of Knit Picks Aloft in Labyrinth. And it's this beautiful, I'm sorry, the lining's not great, but it's this beautiful green color. I'm wearing something underneath. This isn't like actually just me, bearing all for the internet. I just thought it would be nice to see more of the lace detail if I had something lighter on underneath. It's got this, it's like this really dark foresty green with kind of black in it. It is blocked now. When I took pictures, it wasn't blocked yet. I took pictures on Christmas. I finished this barely in time. I was short on yarn, so I had one more skein of the Cascade yarn shipped to my in-laws. So I finished this Christmas Day, took some pictures. It's beautiful. Since it's blocked now, it's actually, the yoke is deeper than I am used to. The neckline's a little bit looser, which is nice, but I definitely preferred a little bit tighter of a fit before it got blocked, but I think the blocking gives it a lot of really nice drape and really opens up the texture so you can see it better. I also perked my baubles, so I got the original idea to do this sweater in this color scheme from Taylor Seeking Cozy. Taylor from Fiber for the People. She has her own podcast. I love listening to her. She's super fun, but she made this in her colorway Endor that she dyed herself, which is also really dark green. She has a tutorial on her YouTube channel on how to perk the baubles. So basically you take one stitch from the bauble and you pull it, twist it, and wrap it around the bauble itself, and it kind of helps the baubles to stand out and stick up more, so they look a lot more perky. So I did that right before I blocked it. So yeah, this is the sweater. I made a size small, I think, because I didn't want quite as much positive ease. I think it works. It looks beautiful. I honestly enjoyed every single stitch of this pattern. It was so fun and enjoyable to knit up. It was a really great blend of trying some new techniques learning some new things, but also some just enjoyable knitting. It worked up so fast. I think that the lace and texture, like, it's just beautiful. The bobbles were not my favorite to do because they felt kind of slow, but it worked out pretty well, I think. I learned how to do a tubular bind off, so I did that on the cuffs, and then I did it on the body was the last thing I did. And it took a very long time. It's a sewn bind off, and when I was doing it on the body, I was kind of regretting my decision, but I think it looks a lot nicer than any other bind off I've ever done before, so I think it was worth it. It's fairly stretchy, but also has like a really nice edge. I'll link in the description the tutorial I used from the Chili Dog. Basically, you're like doing a Kitchener stitch, but instead of doing two different fabrics of knit together, you do one ribbed fabric on itself, so you kind of like sew. It's really interesting. Anyway, and I actually enjoyed it, but it just took a very long time to finish the edge. So I'm really happy that I finished this. This was going to be my Christmas sweater. I'm so happy that I finished it in time. It's a beautiful color. I don't foresee myself wearing this very much for a while since it is just too hot here, but I foresee myself wearing this over and over again every single Christmas. It is really beautiful, and I had so much fun working this up. So I'm really glad that I did this pattern. I think my favorite part is that it has a magnolia leaf. The motif is like on the shoulder. I think that's really beautiful and perfect placement. I love it. Hopefully I can get through this podcast without having to change, but it's getting really, really warm. So that is my first huge FO. I worked on this. I started maybe December 4th or 5th, and I finished it December 25th. So it was like a 3-week sweater. Because I made it a 3-week sweater, I could have done it in more time if I had more time, but I made sure to get it done for Christmas, and it makes me really happy that I did that. I also had for Christmas, I'm going a little bit out of order timeline wise, but what matters most to me. For Christmas, I finished some Christmas socks for my family. I thought it would be a really fun tradition to have a pair of Christmas Eve socks to open and wear so that you can wear them overnight, feel cozy, wake up in the morning. My family likes to give books on Christmas Eve. It's just fun have a little tradition like that, and I thought that that would be really beautiful. And I made the folklore socks by Fox and Folk for my daughter, and I realized that they were in Christmas colors and they looked super cozy. I was like, that would be perfect for her. And since she was getting some Christmas Eve socks, I figured I should make some for my husband and I, because I already wanted to make Christmas socks, and so my husband got some too. So my socks, I'll show you. Let me get a blocker so that they look nicer. We've been wearing these socks, so they don't look very nice anymore. They're kind of crumpled up. I used Sorella yarn for both of these socks, actually. And like I said, these aren't freshly blocked. They need to get washed again. But I made the Cold Winter Night socks by Julianne Knitter. I used Sorella yarn. This is Ivy, and this white is called Cardigan. They're both from her Taylor Swift collection. And I love how the pattern, actually, I really love how there's this ribbing texture. And honestly, this sock fits way better. It fits better than other socks I've done. The fit is a little bit different than what I'm used to making, and I actually really enjoyed it. They're a little bit short, on the shorter side. I don't like super long legs. So those are my socks. And such a beautiful color. And now that I've worn them a little bit, you can see there's like kind of like a goldy undertone, which is really pretty. So those are my Christmas Eve socks. And for my husband, I used Sorella yarn Oopsie. There were some Oopsie socks that I purchased long ago. My husband has longer feet than me, so this fits on the blocker even worse, so you can see a little bit better. It's this beautiful variegated spring green and this tan. So cute. I did a little like pop of color, pop of contrast at the cuff, and I was thinking about doing stripes, but I did not have enough yarn for sure to do stripes, so I'm glad I decided to do this design. He really likes them. They fit better than his last pair of socks, which is mostly because these are cuffed down, and so the cuff is stretchier. I have a hard time doing a toe-up sock and having a stretchy cuff when I bind off. It's a little trickier in my experience. And so he likes how these fit better because it is a stretchier cuff. So those are his socks. So I finished those socks, and I totally felt kind of burnt out on socks, but I have this video coming soon, but I decided to make socks for my grandparents. My grandma enjoys knitting, and she is always so supportive and excited to see my adventures with crochet and knitting, and she gives me more credit than I do, but she's so impressed that I can knit socks, and she's never knit socks before. And so I thought it would be really special to make her and my grandpa a pair of socks. They live in Utah. We took a day trip from my in-laws, and we drove out to visit them, and it was really special. They got to meet my daughter, so their first great-granddaughter, and they are not able to travel as much. They're getting older, just health-wise, and so it was really special to get a chance to visit them. I'm not sure the next time I'll be able to see them in person, and so I really wanted to make sure to bring them a heartfelt gift. And so I made some socks for them, and I will put up, I totally forgot to take a picture right when I finished them. Unfortunately, my timeline was very tight, and so I finished the last sock while we were at my grandparents' visiting with them. So I just handed them over, but I will include a progress picture right here so you can see. I used loops and threads, cozy wool. I used the color burgundy, which was actually a purple color for sure. It was not burgundy, but it was called burgundy. And then I used spice for my grandpa. And so I made them both socks. It's a DK weight yarn. It's a merino, superwash merino and acrylic blend. And so I thought it would work pretty well. And it was nice to get some DK yarn to make some quick socks, and I'll have a video coming soon where I show me trying to make a whole pair of socks in 24 hours, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I was able to finish both pairs of socks in, let's see, I started I think Sunday night, and we visited Wednesday. So it was really quick. So I definitely got burned out on socks. But I'm so glad I was able to finish those for them. Something really special. And depending on how next year goes, I will definitely plan ahead and see if I can make them more socks that fit even better. Since I wasn't really able to measure, I just kind of guesstimated based on what their feet size was compared to mine to kind of see. And knit socks stretch, so it didn't need to be an exact fit. But I'm so happy I was able to do that. I have one more pair of socks. I am burnt out on socks, and I love socks, and I have lots of beautiful sock yarns because I do enjoy making socks, but I was just pushing myself way too much. So I needed to finish one more pair of socks really badly. So let me show you these. I'm calling my All Too Well socks. I finished them 2 days ago. No, I finished them yesterday, and I blocked them yesterday. My All Too Well socks, also Sorella yarn. I'm on a Sorella yarn kick, I guess. But the colorway is called All Too Well, and this is Folklore as the contrast. So I did something a little different. I just did a contrast toe and cuff. It's cool. It's got some like almost micro striping. What's really cool about this is that I did not follow a pattern for this sock. I came up with my vanilla sock recipe on this pattern. I'd done enough socks that I felt confident not following someone else's word description, and I figured it out, and it definitely taught me more about socks. This was my first sock, and my decreases are a little wonky. I switched my decreases. I did my decreases on the wrong side, and so it looks a little bit different than I would like. Whereas this is my newer sock, and you can see the line is more prominent. I guess it's all personal preference, but my decreases are opposite, so the socks don't completely match. And also my gauge for one of the socks, it looks like my second sock is a little bit looser. So, not identical, but they are actually pretty close. And I love how this yarn worked up. It is beautiful. And I'm really proud of myself for being able to make this pair of socks myself, using the knowledge that I have learned thus far for making socks. And the color is beautiful, and it brings me a lot of joy, and they're finally finished. I feel like they were in my project bag for forever because I started at the beginning of November, and just with everything going on in December, I had to put them on the back burner. And I kept forgetting how far along I was, so I thought I was farther than I was. But I was able to crank out a whole bunch in just a couple days. And so I finally finished them, and I'm happy that they're done. I am taking a break. I don't have any plans for socks right now because I just need a break from making socks. And that's okay. I do have a whip that I will show you, this sock, but it's a no stress whip. I don't have a timeline in mind. It's just working on it whenever I feel like it. That's kind of where my making is going into the new year, is just relaxing. having less deadlines for myself because I don't need that kind of stress. Okay, I've got another finished object, a couple actually, I want to show you. This is called Wrapped Up in You Shawl. I was just barely starting it the last podcast, but it was a pattern test for Knits Knots Winnipeg for Janine. It's hard to see the texture, but there's some eyelets. It's a pretty simple pattern. It calls for sport weight yarn, and this is fingering. I used Zany Craft's Sensible Sock in the color Starry Night. My mom got me this yarn, and I wasn't sure quite what to do with it, but it was perfect. I could use it for this, and I do like how colorful it is. This would be really good for wearing in the spring, I think. So I finished that. This was also kind of a headache because I signed up for a pattern test, and then the yarn I was hoping to use for my stash didn't work. And so I had to kind of search around and see what else for my stash I could use. So I was kind of begrudging doing this test. And it just felt like it was taking forever. It's a fairly simple pattern, so it's really good for mindless crochet. It is a crochet pattern, sorry, I didn't mention that. But yeah, I just wasn't in the right headspace, and so I didn't really enjoy working on it, unfortunately. I think I'm in the phase of my life where I don't really want to do too many pattern tests, so I'm going to be pretty selective, I think, in 2022 on the pattern tests that I volunteer for, just to make sure it's something I really enjoy enough that I want to work towards a deadline in that way. And also being able to give feedback to other designers, I do enjoy that, but I'm just not feeling like I'm in the headspace to be critical of a pattern. I just kind of want to make something and be done. So that's okay. I am looking forward to when the weather works a little better for wearing a scarf out. Right now we're just a little bit more bundled up than that. Ooh, my last FO. I have lots of FOs because it's been like a month and a half. I have a new design coming called, and this one will be a little hard to see, the Cardamom Earwarmer. Ooh, it's black. But it uses the same stitch pattern, different gauge, but same stitch pattern as my cardamom wrap, which I'm looking for testers right now. I just came out with a process vlog on my design process for that pattern, and so you can watch that. I'll make sure to link that up above as well as in the description. But I decided it'd be fun to use some of the scraps to make an earwarmer, and since this is an alpaca cotton blend, it is Rowan Alpaca Classic yarn. It's really warm, so even though it's not like a completely closed fabric, you can definitely see through it. It's super warm, like warmer than the worsted weight knit hat I made with a double brim. Yeah, it's really warm, which is really nice. And so I made this for me, and I have one for Georgia as well. Since she's not been feeling good, I haven't taken pictures, and I haven't had a chance to really make sure that this fits like I want it to. I made one for Georgia too. You can see a little better. I did a little twist. I held two different strands together on this, whereas this one is two strands of the black. So it's a little bit more marly, and I thought it would be fun for her. I gotta weave in my ends still, but I'm trying to decide whether I want to include this within the pattern for the cardamom wrap, or if I want this to be a free pattern on my blog, or I'm not quite sure what I want to do with the pattern for this. I think it would be fun to have it released in conjunction with the cardamom wrap. So I'm working on the math. Now that I have two different size samples, I'm going to work on the math and hopefully get a testing call out soon for that. Just a quick little project, super fast, super straightforward. So yeah, that's all my FOs. Oh my goodness, lots of things. Oh, I forgot one. Quick one. I made a double rim beanie, and this fits me not attractively when my hair's up, but I made it for my daughter. This yarn is Sorella yarn. It's all about Sorella yarn today. This is Georgia Peach is the colorway from her Summer Tonals. Beautiful variegation in that tone. Basically just made this pattern up. Georgia's been needing a hat. This is my last finished object of 2021. So basically I did a double brim, 1x1 rib. I just kind of searched some patterns to try to figure out how many stitches I wanted to do. I think I did 88 stitches. This is a worsted weight. And then I knit the brim together and then just knit, I don't know, maybe like 15 rounds, and then started doing decreases. Did a 4-point crown. So nothing super fancy, but I do like how it fits on me, and she'll definitely be able to grow into it. Today we went on a walk outside and I folded the brim up again. It fit her just barely over her ears with the brim folded up one more time. Super cute. I have more of this yarn, so we'll see. I might make another one so I can have one and Georgia can have one. We shall see. So really, that is all my finished objects. We can go into whips now. Okay, so talking about Sorella yarn, I do have some more of that Georgia Peach yarn left over, and so I actually volunteered to do a pattern test. I know I literally just said I wasn't in the headspace, but I volunteered anyway. This is the Lavender Mittens by Woodland Stitchcraft. It's a crochet pattern, and I'm making the 2 to 4 month size. I got gauged really easily. Basically finished one mitten. I just did this in my bed last night, winding down for the day. I need to get my elastic out from my craft closet and then do the elastic in the cuff. I think that'll be cool. I've never done something like that, but I think it might work really well for my daughter. Kids have a hard time keeping mittens on. I think they just kind of things slide around, you know. And so I'm wondering if the elastic will work better, and so that's why I volunteered to do this test, because I thought it was an interesting idea, and she needs some mittens to match the hat I made her. I made a mitten. I need to finish this one off, and then make the other one. Will be pretty easy. It's got a fun texture. So that is the first whip. I guess it's a half, pretty much. And then, like I said, I'm working on a sock. So this sock has been around for a very long time, but it's been on the super back burner. So I think the last time I worked on this was in October. It was a movie sock. I needed something with simple stockinette to work on during a movie. I basically, you can't even see because I've moved my markers around. I've knit from about there. I knit this much during that movie, and I just like set it aside. But I've knit from about there. So I've started the gusset increases, actually. I was working on this. This was my church knitting and car knitting yesterday. But this yarn, it's Basket of Apples. It's by Monica Greco of Divine Yarn. Her Charm 50 sock base. And you can see there's like some flecks of green and some really rich candy red, apple red, which is super fun. I am using Lang Yarns, this green color, and it comes with reinforcement thread. So this is reinforced, so it's way thicker and sturdier than the rest of the sock. But these are going to be shorty socks. So the fact I'm already doing gusset increases means I'm not too far away from doing the heel and then finishing up with that. So yeah, this is actually going to be my third toe-up socks. I made a pair that were baby. But this will be my first pair of toe-up socks with a contrast heel, so that'll be a little different. And my first pair of shorties ever. So I'm excited. I'm not stressed to like work on this at all. It'll literally just be my car knitting or like going to church or, waiting in line. Just kind of see how long it takes for me to get through them, because I really don't want to push myself to work on anything right now for the most part. Just taking it easy and trying to balance all my hobbies instead of just knitting and crocheting. I've been doing a lot more reading, which has been nice, and just doing more relaxing and going with the flow. It's been nice and relaxing being at this new year. I'm trying to seek more balance because there's lots of things I enjoy doing, and I want to make sure that I have time for all of them and not just knitting. Last whip. Yeah, I only have 3 whips. Go me. I definitely need to go back through and find any languishing whips and do a frog session and figure out how to use things. But for the time being, I only have 3 whips. And this is my love note. I am hosting a knit along. Yay! Okay, so if you haven't been following me on Instagram, I'm hosting with Jessica of JS Threads 14. We are hosting the Love Note is in the Air make along. You use the hashtag Love Note is in the air on any work in progress or finished object photos, as long as you started the Love Note on January 1st or after and finished before February 14th. then, or by February 14th, then you will be entered to win a prize. We're putting together a really good goodie basket, some really fun self-love type of things, chocolates, maybe some fun bath things. Jessica is dyeing a skein of yarn, and her color palette is beautiful, chocolate and roses inspired, and I'm going to be making some stitch markers. So it'll be a really fun basket for the winner, and we have a group chat for all the participants where we've been talking about how we're doing on our makes, what else we're working on, just kind of cheering each other on, asking questions. It's been really fun. So definitely let me know if you want to be added to that group chat. Just send me a message on Instagram, or you can send a message to Jessica. But anyway, we're doing this knit along because Jessica and I both have this on our Make 9 list for the year, so we wanted to work on it. And I'm trying to just keep a pace with the knit along instead of getting too far ahead, at least for the time being. I might try to speed up in a little bit, but I just split for sleeves yesterday, and so I'm making good progress. And the thing about the love note is it works up super fast, so there's definitely time for you to join if you want. And any size works. I made a size 1 to 2 year, like a toddler size for my daughter in like 3 days in November. So you can definitely still join in, and we would love to have you. We don't have too many participants either, so you have a good chance of winning a prize if you post about it. But this is my love note. So far, it's this beautiful like minty green. I'm using a mohair again, using Knit Picks Aloft in the color Iceberg, and I'm holding it double with Knit Picks palette yarn in the colorway Sagebrush. I just joined in my second ball of both of those, and yeah, I split for the sleeves, so now I can just crank away on the body, and I'm so excited. The lace, I was just kind of tinkering away at it, doing like 1 or 2 rows here or there in the evening, so it went a little bit slowly, but then I got really excited when I finished the lace. But then there's like some raglan increased rows right after the lace that I forgot about, so I was very grumpy about having to do a few more rows before I could split for the sleeves. But I've actually split for the sleeves now. We're all good. I can relax. So there's that. I'll make sure to put, there's like a little schedule that we put together just to kind of keep pace with the knit along, and this next week is to do the body. That's a lot. The first week was just cast on and to start the yoke, so that's not very much. The second week was to do the lace, and that's also not very much. Third week is to do the body, which is kind of a lot of knitting, but it's really mindless and easy knitting. Once you've split for the sleeves, you really just go as long as you want. And so this will be a big knitting week, but also won't be too hard. The week after will be sleeve 1, and then sleeve 2, and then we'll have a finishing week where you'll do the neckline and then catch up on anything. Probably the body will slow people down. I think it might slow me down just a little bit. And then we'll just have a couple spare days to weave an end, block it, get some cute pictures, just in time for Valentine's Day, which is the end of our knit along. I'm super excited about this. It's been nice to have a far out deadline so I can work on this but not stress about trying to finish it in like 2 weeks or something. Just trying to stay more calm and really just enjoy the process, work on it when I want to, and don't work on it when I don't want to. I don't know if you saw one of my acquisitions. These are some knitting barber cords, and that's how I'm holding my sleeves. And if you haven't heard of this, these are actually really cool, and I've wanted them for a while. But it's this little tube. There's a hole in the middle. You can't see. But you can stick it on the end of your needle. Even these big 6mm needles, you can stick it on, and it sticks pretty well. And so then you can use that I used it to slide my stitches from my needle onto the cord. It was a little tricky, like detaching and not losing stitches, but it was really easy to just slide them onto the cord. When I split for the sleeves and to like get those sleeve stitches out of the way, it's really nice for trying on a piece, to extend your cable just for, trying on or something, or to like, if you wanted to show a shawl or something, to just extend your cable temporarily, to just pop it on the cable and then stretch it out, or pop it on the needle and stretch it out. So I'll definitely link down in the description where I got my cords. Super cool. I know that there are other options out there, not a lot. And so I've got these. If I find a DIY option, I will definitely let you know, because that would be cool. It'd be cool to have more of these. definitely really useful to have in your arsenal. And I just tied off the end in a loose square knot, so it won't like come undone, but it's pretty easy to undo. That is an acquisition that I talked about now, I guess. but there's that. So that's my knit along, and I would love to have you join in. So let me know if you are joining in our knit along. I would love to say hi to you again. It's been really fun. So I hope that you are interested in joining us. And if there's another knit along or make along that you'd want to do later on in the year, let me know if you have any ideas. I've got some up here, but we shall see what else comes up. Okay, so time to talk about some more acquisitions. I already talked about the knitting barber cords. I got them off Etsy, so linked in the description. I want to share some more things I got with you. I'm holding right now one of them from Hello Lavender. Oh geez, my hair got a little crazy. I have a sick baby at home, so my level of caring for how I look right now is very low. This part of her affirmation stitch marker set that she came out with. Oh man, it's hard to get. I'm on my phone, so it doesn't autofocus necessarily in the middle of the video, but it is the I Am Enough one. It's got these pretty daisies, this leaf. This one really spoke to me. Sometimes it's hard to feel like what I'm doing is enough. In all aspects of my life. As a mom, I mean, I'm feeling kind of helpless with my daughter just feeling sick, but I know she's not sick enough to need to like go to the doctor or anything about it right now. I'm a nurse, so I know pretty well if I need to take her in, if someone needs to take a look at her, but it's still really hard to feel like I'm doing enough around the home, for my family, for my husband. It's hard to feel like I am enough as a creator when I'm not seeing the growth that I want to see, or the engagement or the interest in what I'm doing, even though there are things that I'm really passionate and excited and proud of. So this has just been a really good reminder for me, this affirmation, I am enough. And if you need to hear it too, know that you are enough in what you're doing. Life is pretty hard, and we've been going through a lot as a society, as individuals in the past few years, and it's okay. You're doing well. Even if you don't feel like you are doing well, if you feel like you're not fine, know that you are enough the way you are. That's been really special to have. And, ooh, so many yarn goodies, because it's been like a month and a half. I'll try not to crinkle too much, but I got some Knit Picks yarn from their Black Friday sale. I got a whole bunch of Kotlin. I have a design in mind. So it's creme brulee. Oh, freak. My gimbal keeps shutting off for some reason. So I have creme brulee and mustard seed and whisper. So I have a design in mind, kind of a plaid flannelly button-up thing for crochet. We'll see. I'm most excited about this design, and so it'll take a while, I think, to figure it out. But that's why I have the yarn so far ahead of time. But that's what I'm working on. I also got from them, I got the rest of the palette yarn that I needed for my love notes, since I didn't have the right color before. I also got this skein. This color is called Ice Lily, also a palette yarn. Georgia took off the label. That is going to be for, hopefully for a sweater project. I'm gonna hold it double with this mohair that I got that you've seen before, and I'm going to see if it works out well. I think it'll look really good, but I need to swatch and just make sure. And if it is, then I will get some more of this. I also got, I'm trying to go fast because my gimbal's not working great. I also got some Teeny Button yarn that I had ordered. Yay! Teeny Button Studio. This is her soft sock base, 75/25, in the colorway Wednesday in a Cafe. So it's this creamy color with brown. Oh man. Okay, brown. There's some like reds and purples and yellows. Sorry. I tried to block the window as best I could. But I'm going to make a cottagecore crop with these. So I'm really excited. Part of my Make 9 list. And yeah, these are beautiful, based on a Taylor Swift song. So yeah, that's another acquisition. I'm glad it came in the mail. She wound it super tightly. It's very tight and stiff compared to most skeins I get. So that's kind of interesting. Very tightly wound. It's beautiful. I'm really excited. I also got more yarn from another dyer that I ordered a pre-order for. This is from Woolbury Fiber Co. She had like a bookshop collection. This is the colorway Austin, And this is Far Off Lands, this blue with the gold throughout, and it's got this gold contrast. I really wanted to do the gold contrast with Austin, is really why I wanted to get it, and I figured this blue was pretty and I could still use it. Because I didn't want to get a whole skein of this. So instead I got a sock set and then Austin. It's got more dark brown than I thought it would, but I really like that orangey bit. It's got some olivey greens. I'm interested to see how this looks wound up and then worked up. I ordered some yarn from Woolberry Fiber that I felt like looked different in person than it did online, but when I wound it up, I definitely liked it a lot better wound up than it did in the hank, and I haven't had a chance to use it yet, but I think that yarn will look even better when it's worked up, so I think the same will be true for this. I'll just love it more and more as it gets closer to the finished project, because it does have some really beautiful colors and speckling in it. So, not exactly what I had envisioned, but it's still beautiful. Okay, this gimbal is driving me crazy. So good thing we're getting close to the end, but I wanted to show some books that I've gotten recently. Okay. So I pre-ordered Tony Lipsy's Tunisian Crochet Handbook. You can see I've got lots and lots of projects bookmarked that I would like to work on in the near future. This book is an awesome resource. It goes over basic techniques. It goes over like how to, like, what is Tunisian crochet? It goes over many different stitches. It goes over many intermediate techniques on how to change colors and when to change colors for different visuals, how to increase, how to decrease. Really a phenomenal resource for Tunisian crochet, and I have another Tunisian crochet book that pales in comparison. Like, this is so good, and so I have a lot of reading ahead of me, as well as some fun projects to work on, so I'm really excited about this, that I finally got it in the mail. Yay! That's the hard part about pre-orders. I was also gifted a book. This is Crochet Colorwork Made Easy by Claire Goodale, Eclair Makery on Instagram, and she is the colorwork queen. So we have the Tunisian queen, this is the colorwork queen. She does so many beautiful crochet colorwork patterns, and I've bookmarked a few up here, and I'm going to start one pretty soon. This book was gifted to me by Page Street Publishing. I'm one of their ambassadors, so basically they gift me a book and I get a chance to go through it, work on some projects, kind of promote it on social media. I don't get paid or anything, but I get a free book, and it's so fun. I love books. My mom is a writer, and so I've grown up loving books. So it's really fun to combine my interests of books, and we have changed the angle. So I guess my gimbal died. Okay, so this is what we're doing right now with just my phone tilted up. So I apologize, not a flattering angle, and also not what the rest of the video was, but we are finishing up here. But we are trying to get this done before nap time ends. So yeah, I was gifted this book by Page Street Publishing, and I'm not paid in any way. It's just a gift from them, and I get the opportunity to go through this book and post about it on social media. So I'm really excited. There's some really cool techniques about colorwork in here. We've adjusted the camera again. Like I said, I'm not paid for having a book or giving a review or anything like that, but I am given a free book, and I get the opportunity to look through it, and I'll post about it on my social media. It's a really cool resource for color work. I don't know very much about crochet color work, and I'm only beginning to delve into knitting color work, and it's been really cool. I know how to do a little bit, but there's so many more techniques for crochet color work than I realized. I really want to learn about intarsia crochet, and so I'm going to be working on that. But first, I am going to be using some stash yarn, and I'm going to make the Diamond Reflections pillow. So I'll show you the picture. So yeah, I'm going to make that pillow because our pillows need a refresh on our couch. That'll be my first project, and then I'm going to dive into intarsia crochet. I'm really excited about this. It's really exciting that there's so many fun resources to turn to for crochet and knitting books, and I have a good collection going. If you'd like to see my library of crafting books, then let me know in the comments below, and I could do a video on that potentially if that's something you're interested in. Last publication that I have received, I bought the We Crochet issue 9 magazine, and I thought it's magazine. No, it's like a huge freaking book. It's huge, and I have not had the chance to look through this, but there's all sorts of patterns, so many patterns, and like articles, and so many things in here. And I am really hoping, one of my 2022 goals is to publish a pattern in a magazine. I don't know if it'll publish this year, but I want to be accepted into a magazine this year. And so part of that is to do a little research by buying some magazines that I've heard of and trying to figure out if they are a good fit for my brand, if my brand is a good fit for them, and kind of seeing how I can accomplish that by designing something that is a good fit for what they are looking for. So this is one of the things that I'll be looking through. I already got a copy of Pom Pom magazine a while back, and so this will be Crochet. If you know of any other crochet or knitting magazines, let me know down below, because I would love to do some more research, is what I'm calling it, to see what kind of publications would be a good fit for my patterns. So that's something I hope to look through sometime soon, but I have some other books that I've gotten recently, so I am looking at other things too. So got lots of things to look at. Thank you. It has been a long time since I've podcasted, and I've really wanted to, and I'm glad I could finally make the time. It's so nice being home after traveling, especially with a sick kiddo. It's good to be home. She definitely sleeps a lot better, and I hope she'll get better from what she's going through right now. So it's nice to be home. It was so nice to visit family and to be back somewhere that we feel like is home. We may or may not be able to move there later this year. We shall see. We are definitely moving in October, but we shall see where we end up. It would be nice to be closer to family. Other than some crazy knitting and traveling for the holidays and my baby being sick, we've been pretty good, and there hasn't been too much else going on. I have lots of new videos up on my channel. I definitely want to talk more about my knitting goals for 2022, so I think I'll make a video for that as well, or at least a blog post. But part of that is making some Make 9 lists. Make 9 means you pick 9 projects that you want to work on for the year. So I have a Make 9 list for 2022, and I also have an honorable mentions, so 9 backup plans if I decide to make those too, because it's really hard to just pick 9. So I have a backup plan. So that is one video. I'll link that. And then I also have a stash Make 9 list that just came out, and that list is 9 projects that I hope to make with old yarn that I have in my stash. I'm trying to be more deliberate and to plan more regarding the yarn that I have, because I just don't know what to do with it now, and so I really need to figure it out. So it takes some planning and preparation, but I have 9 projects that I definitely want to make with my stash. I'm going to come up with a gifts Make 9 list, because I do want to be better about making gifts for my family, some things for Georgia, some things for my husband, and for others. So that list will come out soon. I have my cardamom wrap pattern that will go out to testers fairly soon, by the end of this week, and I'm really excited about that pattern, and I hope you are as well. And then the Cardamom Earwarmer in conjunction with that. And that's kind of what's going on. There's lots of little pieces. I've got a couple custom orders that I need to work on, different hats and stuff that I'm making, and then not too many whips, but I definitely feel the need to start new fun projects. So I'm trying to keep things under control and not go crazy. I'm definitely in the mood to declutter some yarn and really use it up. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. And it's really just getting Georgia better, poor girly. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on with us. I'm trying to take things slower, balance out my hobbies, spend more time reading, only knit and crochet if I want to, and just really enjoy the process of making, kind of slowing down. And so that's kind of what I'm looking for in this season. I'm hoping to come out with a video or a blog post or something on all of my 2022 making goals. I definitely am hoping for some more growth within my YouTube channel and within my Instagram. I would love to make more Etsy sales too. I am hoping to learn new things, make all sorts of new projects, and there's just so much that I want to do. I want to focus more on Pinterest. I want to work on my newsletter. There's like so much I could improve on and change, and I really just 2021 felt like I hadn't grown as much as I wanted to. But in retrospect, I did so much. And I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself for everything that I did do and that I learned and that I accomplished and the ways in which I pushed and stretched myself. 2021 was a good year of growth, and even if it didn't meet my expectations, and even if it's easy to compare to other makers, I did well, and I'm happy. And I'm looking forward to what 2022 will bring, and I'm setting goals and making plans and working hard, but also knowing that it's out of my control a lot of times, and I just need to enjoy the process of what I'm doing in the meantime. That's kind of what I'm thinking about right now. I hope to be back with another podcast in just a couple weeks, get back on track and not do such a long break in between podcast episodes. But I also plan to do other videos. I would love more ideas on things that you would love to see, so definitely share with me down below if there's any particular content you want, or if there are any projects that I made that really stood out to you, or things that you've worked on before. Definitely let me know what you're working on now, and I will see you next time. Happy making! Bye!